Well, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate your time. And
Absolutely. Me too.
yeah, I hope to have a thought-provoking conversation. I'm excited to speak with you about the current state of employment in the world, specifically in the US, as well as topics related to new tech and other relevant subjects. And for those who don't know, Adam is a co-founder of Braintrust, a decentralized network that connects freelancers with organizations seeking talented individuals. I must admit that until June, I didn't know much about your company, didn't know much about Braintrust, but I have since discovered a lot about the platform, and I think that more people should be aware of it. More people should know about companies like Braintrust. In any case, thank you for joining, and let's talk.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me. Excited.
All right, I'll begin with the first question. You know, there is a transformation happening in the employment sector, and globalists are trying to automate processes, and many people are afraid of losing their jobs. In my opinion, and this is my subjective opinion, practically any profession could be automated, if not now, then within the next decade. What is your take on it? Do you think that there will be a form of universal income to supplement the lack of jobs, or do you think there will be a rise of new professions in the field? How do you see the transformation within the tech field, and what do you think people can do today to remain relevant tomorrow?
Yeah, sure. So, it is definitely a very exciting and a little bit scary, maybe turbulent time in the tech world with this explosion of AI tools, and it's like every week a new thing comes out. So, our position here, my position is these AI tools are going to make a lot of jobs, a lot of knowledge worker jobs, far more efficient, and it may shave off some jobs at the lower end. So if I'm just starting out as an engineer, or even if I'm an established, a couple of years experience engineer, product manager, designer, I would, as soon as possible, become a complete expert on all of these tools. So if you're a developer, obviously you understand Copilot, how those are built into the IDEs, but more, start playing with Claude 3.5, which is exceptional at writing code and documentation and unit tests. And the LLM technology is at a state right now where it can basically do very, low level kind of engineering work, coding, QA, unit test, documentation writing. Become an expert on how that works. So in your next gig, you'll be 50% or whatever more productive. I think that's going to be true for lots of knowledge worker jobs, but we'll stick in the tech sector for now. And then, you asked about UBI. I don't think UBI will ever work, at least in the tech sector, maybe in any sector, because people need a sense of purpose. They need to know that they're working on something and contributing, and they're being creative, and they have a purpose in life. And just getting a check from the government is not going to give you that purpose.
Do you see any new jobs?
Yeah, so look, obviously, like prompt engineering, model building, AI application building, those are all just new types of software engineering jobs. So I think the scope of engineering jobs is going to shift to higher order problem solving. And so the small jobs you see on Upwork or Fiverr, like create me a custom WordPress site or design me a logo for my dentist's office, AI can do that now. And so you want to be the person who can deploy, architect, build larger systems, right? So humans will just go higher up the complexities.
And I think it might happen in other fields as well. For example, surgeons, doctors could become more of managers who control the machines. I don't know. Let's talk a little bit about DeFi. Braintrust is a DeFi app, right? It's
Well, we're kind of technically deep in.
Mhm.
Decentralized physical infrastructure, physical being the person who does the work,
Right.
but yeah, similar.
Yeah, so there are elements that involve manual approvals, such as the freelancer verification process, which is something I would like to learn more about. Which elements of your platform are completely decentralized and which ones involve manual approvals? And how is your platform evolving? Given the ongoing changes in the field, what do you expect an upgraded version of Braintrust to look like? And how do you envision the evolved version of Braintrust? What is the big picture in your mind?
Sure. Yeah. So we started off as a very manual marketplace where a talent would apply, then a community member would interview them and make sure that their skills are what they say they are and that kind of stuff, and then they would become approved, and we use the token in there to incentivize and reward people for doing that. Fast forward 3 years, that's all automated now, so it's all AI systems approving people, screening, that kind of thing. um, we used to have human matchers matching an applicant to a role, so looking at 70 or 100 applicants and then forwarding on the good matches to the client. That's now all completely automated with AI, no humans involved whatsoever. So, we've evolved from a very manual marketplace to basically a completely automated one. The decentralized aspects are twofold. One, so over 50% of the business that comes to Braintrust comes from independent connectors, people who just grab a code off the website, use it to refer a client, and then when that client starts transacting, they get a stream of Braintrust tokens as their reward. So it's like a decentralized affiliate program powered by the token. And then also there's several different corporate nodes that run the network. So some clients will transact through my node, other clients transact through other nodes, depending on who brings the business in. So it's got a decentralized kind of economic base in that sense. But to answer, the future is, we just launched a couple months ago, Braintrust Air, which is a fully autonomous recruiting platform, recruiting AI. So Air, AI recruiter. And the way that works is, so this is the future of Braintrust, to answer your question.
Mhm.
A client could just start typing in what they need into the Braintrust website. Air takes over, writes the full job description, tailors it for the hiring company, posts it to Braintrust, but also LinkedIn and other job boards. All the applicants start rolling in. We get 400, 500, 600 applicants per tech role now. That's how competitive the tech labor market is. Air analyzes every applicant, decides who should go on to a first live screen, and then it actually conducts that first screen for you. So it's a 30, 45-minute deep technical conversation powered by LLMs on our back end. It's been trained by our internal recruiters and millions of job applications we've processed over the last few years. So then Air will interview, say, 100 people and then hand the hiring manager back the best 5. And then the hiring manager can take over and then just do the second and third, whatever interviews with just those 5 people, guaranteed to be a great match. That process crushes a 6-week hiring process down to about 2 days. So that's like, I think, the future of recruiting right there.
What does it look like on a back end for a hiring manager? Can a hiring manager customize requirements, fields to
For sure.
to improve the automation process?
Yeah, so right now we're just doing tech roles. So developer, designer, product manager, project manager, security, AI, that kind of stuff, deployment. We already have those roles trained. The AI is trained to do technical screen on those roles, and it knows the requirements. Mm-hmm. But if you're, say, Google or Bank of America, as those are some of our bigger customers, you can customize those interview questions, certainly.
Mm-hmm. Do you see more benefits with this? Because you can't really know everything about a person by making that individual potential employee answer questions and complete assessments. So in your opinion, what are advantages and disadvantages of this?
Yeah, so the Air is trained to be as good as or better than the best technical human recruiter. So it's not a substitute for having a human talk to this candidate before they're hired, right? That's definitely, this thing's not making hiring decisions on its own. It's just whittling the list of 500 applicants down to 5 in 2 days instead of 6 weeks, right? It's just far more efficient. Doesn't have any bias built into it, so it ignores age, gender, race, location, ethnicity, that kind of stuff, which is hard for humans to do. It's trained to go very technically deep, so it'll ask you about projects in your past and what challenges you overcame. It will keep asking you the applicant questions until it has satisfactory answers, and then it fills out a scorecard based on those responses. So it's very objective and obviously much faster than a team of people doing it. On the talent side, I mean, to be very honest, like, it's met with skepticism. A lot of people on the talent side will say, like, how good could this thing really be? Why should I talk to an AI instead of a person? Is this thing really going to understand me? And then we see people go through it. We've had hundreds of people go through it so far, and it's ramping up. Afterwards, almost universally, they say, that was a really cool experience. I could tell it understood what I was saying because it asked me detailed follow-up questions about my actual projects. 2 was, like, I felt way less nervous than I normally do on job interviews with people because I could tell this thing, it's just a computer. It's not judging me. It's actually paying attention. And 3, you get feedback at the end. We can actually show you the candidate, show the candidate the scorecard and show how you did. And getting feedback on an interview is something people just don't get today. That's a brand new thing. People really appreciated that.
Mm-hmm. I started thinking about reverse engineering, how people in the future might use the same exact approach to be selected, to be picked by a machine and be among those 5 out of 500 applicants.
Yeah, the way to do it, the way to reverse engineer it is to be really good at the role that you're applying for.
Or use AI to make it help you answer questions.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real-time conversation, so you're not going to have time to look stuff up. It's tuned to be just like the live conversation you're not doing right now. It's a live real-time conversation. So if you're looking things up, it's probably not going to reflect well on the scorecard.
Cool. That's cool. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about DeFi. I have a lot of developers in my network, and opinions on decentralization vary widely. And I was surprised. I just had a conversation with a guy. I'm not going to disclose his name because he's a creator of a very popular DeFi application. And despite creating that application, he is not fully convinced by DeFi, and he's a very known developer in the field. So he's skeptical because most transactions are executed on layer 2, which somewhat undermines the centralized aspect. So how do you envision the development of decentralized applications? Will we see a complete transition toward decentralization, or will we just see more applications remain semi-decentralized?
Yeah, look, I think that there's several advantages to decentralization. It's also kind of a nebulous term. I think here in the US, the way you're kind of legally decentralized is if the founding node disappeared, the other nodes could pick up the business. And that's how Braintrust is decentralized. I could disappear and the other nodes would operate just fine. The advantages, though, to decentralization is another word I would use for it is permissionless. So anyone can become a client on Braintrust and start hiring. Anyone can become talent as long as they get through the, automated screening process. Anyone can make money being a connector, right? They can just come in and start making introductions. We have, something like 1,200 active connectors that 95% of which I don't know who they are, but they earn Braintrust tokens by expanding their by sharing their network with us and making introductions to clients and talent. So that's how we've grown to over 1 million on the talent side and around 2,500 clients. So that's a decentralized way. That's how our core nodes, if you add up all the employees on the core nodes, it's less than 50 people, right? And so to operate a network this large with just centralized command and centralized employees, you need a lot more employees. So I think that's the magic of decentralization, is the permissionless aspect.
Yeah, but do you think there will be applications that are just created by, um, independent individuals just to just like run on smart contracts 100%? Or do you think there's still be an element of centralization?
Well, I mean, not everything needs to be decentralized or should be, right? I mean, a couple of years ago when the Web3 boom was happening, they're like, everything's going to decentralize, and you're going to have decentralized Uber, decentralized Airbnb. And the way I think about that business model is on a spectrum. If a centralized network is extracting more value than it provides to its users, it should be decentralized, right? There's opportunity for disruption there. If a centralized company is providing as much or more value than it extracts, then it's probably not going to be decentralized. I'll give an example on both sides. So, a company that gives as much or more value than it extracts, Airbnb, right? You pay the fee, but you get so much for it. You get insurance and marketing and trust and easy payments and escrow. And like it provides a lot of services, so that I don't see there being a reason for decentralized Airbnb. On the other hand, you might have something like DoorDash or Uber, which is extracting so much value from the restaurants, the dashers, and even marking up the food to the consumers, right? They're extracting tons of value. And so you could see like a decentralized last mile company where, you tokenize a network of drivers who deliver people, food, and packages. And then anyone who wants to tap into that network needs to play in that token economy. I see there's a huge opportunity for a decentralized network there.
So do you see something like a decentralized YouTube happening in our lifetime or not?
YouTube,
like a decentralized YouTube, right? So something that resembles YouTube and its functionality, but completely decentralized, where a government cannot take it down, where a government cannot go and like shut down the servers.
No, I highly doubt it, because YouTube provides such a great service. It extracts minimal value compared to the value it provides. If it does have any censorship issues, they're very, very few and far between. And their network effects are so strong that I don't think those ever break. Same as X, right? X, like the president just resigned on X, or gave up his campaign, not resigned yet. And usually that would happen, on a press conference on one of the network TV, right? So the network effects of X are so strong, and the value they extract is so minimal, and they're not being censored anymore, thanks to Elon. So I don't see any version of the future where there's a decentralized X, because it's just not way better than the existing one.
All right, thanks. Let's talk a little bit about the finance sector. So de-dollarization is a positive indication that countries are trying to reduce their reliance on the US dollar in international trade and finance. The next logical step is for people to rely less on government currencies and centralized financial institutions. Do you think we will see decentralized governance models, like digital representations of real world assets, and the use of personal tokens in real world transactions within our lifetime? What's your take?
I'm not sure what you mean by personal tokens, but
personal tokens where you can create your token Atom, then create liquidity for this Atom USDT kind of token and use it for payments.
No,
technically, technically, it's possible now, but it's not popular. So I'm asking if you think we can see something like that within our lifetime, or is just
personal tokens make no sense to me. Those are just meme coins and scams. For something to be a valid unit of account, store value, and method of payment, it needs to be widely adopted. So a personal token couldn't be that. I think stable coins will proliferate. That's going to be a great way for people to store value if they're in a high inflation fiat to get to a lower inflation fiat, like the dollar, and stablecoins enable all of that. So I think stablecoins will explode. Dollar-based stablecoins will explode over the next however many years. But I also think the US is going to realize that having a weak dollar is better than having a strong dollar for trade, manufacturing, things like that. And so I think double-digit inflation will continue on the dollar. And that will cause people who don't need to store all their wealth in dollars to look at things like Bitcoin. And so I think that's a long-term bullish outlook for Bitcoin. I think global trade will always denominate in dollars, but dollars will continue to not be a great store of value. I firmly believe Bitcoin will continue to be more valuable relative to the dollar. I think same for Ethereum and probably same for a bunch of other tokens, based on the use case.
All right, perfect. I have one last question before you go, and this question is related to your current ongoing activities. Can you please share any relevant information, the recent announcements, or anything else that's on your mind? I also know you have a YouTube channel. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about your blog or whatever you call it, your YouTube channel. I'm very grateful that you joined this call today, and I hope to reconnect again in the future.
Yeah, for sure. So I just have a small YouTube channel that I use to speak to our community, investors, employees. It's just a couple thousand people, but it's kind of an easy way for me to keep people kind of up to date asynchronously. So it's not a wide audience channel like yours, but yeah, I mean, look, I'm very focused on what AI is going to do to the labor market over the next few years. There's been a lot of hype around the LLMs, but now it's time for the applications to be built out. And I think, you see these hundreds of billions of dollars being invested in LLMs, and it's unclear to me whether there will be any return on that investment. When you see an AI recruiter or an AI accounting firm or an AI lawyer or an AI software development shop, those are the fine-tuned applications that will capture the real commercial value in AI, right? They're the ones who are going to fine-tune on top of the LLM, go out and sign customers, specialize on their use case. Because I don't see GPT being an AI recruiter, an AI accountant. Like it can speak at a high level on those topics, but it can't actually do the work, right? So we're going to migrate in the next 12, 18 months from AI that helps you, be a little bit more efficient, what we call co-pilots, to AI that does the whole job for you, right? And so it's our migration to that second bucket. AI does the work for you, where all the value is going to be created. And so our bet is on Braintrust Air, which is a AI recruiter that just stands there and can interview hundreds of thousands of people a week and hand you back just the best ones. And it frees up time for the internal recruiting department to do other more important things. And I think we'll see the same in accounting and legal and software development and architecture. And there's all these verticals that are so ripe for optimization by AI. And I don't think it's going to be they'll be powered by LLMs, but it's not going to be the LLM doing the work. So I think there's this huge opportunity for application specific AI.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. It was a cool conversation, and I'm really grateful that you found time to speak. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope to reconnect once again.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Ivan. I enjoyed it too.